Yes, we are live, and this is the Man United agenda. Man United, the big derby today. We've lost 2-0. And here with me is Talk MU and Rebel to assess where we went wrong. Hello. I know you guys just watched the game. A lot of you watched the game and watched United lose convincingly to Manchester City, our neighbours, our rivals, our supposedly title rivals, I think. So my name's Amondi Juma, excuse me, and I'm here with Talk MU. Like yourself, I've just done a live watch along with Charlie, our boy Charlie. You've done a live watch along as well. How did your watch along go?
Yeah, pretty much as I expected, to be fair.
And I want to say big up to my main man, Rebel Irishman. You just tuned in and watched the game, and you told me you had a nice Irish breakfast to watch the game with. How did it go for you?
Absolutely. I just have some big breaking news to break from last night's Friday night takeaway show. The poll results are in, and it has been confirmed. The Wally on Monday of the week is in fact our very own host, Mr. Amondi Juma. So congratulations to him.
Boo! Anyway, let's move on before we don't want to deal with that. Let's move on. Just want to say hi to Bath Time with Vaughan. How are you doing, Bath Time with Vaughan? I'm sure you've just tuned in as well and watched the game, and you can be our fourth man here on the panel because you've always got some interesting and knowledgeable things to say. But let's just start from the top. Big game today, man. We've discussed it all week. We were looking at options, how to set up our formation, how are we going to contain them, and a lot of us were really positive. I mean, in our sort of predictions, I for one, I was saying we might win 1-0. I think it's a good time to play City. They haven't really, they're not in fourth gear yet. All these issues that we were discussing. So the first thing that I want to discuss is we saw the team sheet and we decided to go. We were back 5. And this is after we had a good performance against Tottenham and almost half with Atalanta as well. So I'm going to start with you, Rebel. What are your feelings about the setup today? And what do we want to achieve with going to a back 5 today? Can you just give me a little summary about that, please?
Well, obviously we were looking to work on the fact that we conceded 5 goals off the back of Liverpool. That was a clear and obvious point of influence that we needed to adjust. We went into it looking to be compact, looking to be hard to break down, not to be easy to be played through. This has been a key of Ollie's press conferences, that we were being too easy to be playing through. And the goal was not to actually cough up silly goals. And what I saw was a team that was struggling with the wing-back positions. In that formation, we need very potent wing-backs. And did not see that from our players today. And I know we'll be going into the goals later, but the goals were sloppy. But and we found it very difficult to play out at the back because it seemed like the players weren't comfortable in the system. That was the feeling I got. Now, Mr. Amondi, you did in a show not too long ago say that you were very happy with the 3-5-2 system. You thought it brought a different structure after the Spurs game. And I distinctly remember saying to you that if we did it against City, I would be on the floor and I would be giving you your due praise and giving you the greatest pundit ever tag. How do you feel about it now?
I wanted to ask Talk MU, but considering you're coming to me, I won't be long talking MU. I'll just respond to this. I do feel that we're a bit too open as a 4-2-3-1. I think, especially against a team like Man City, who have so much possession and so comfortable with the ball in our half, in the opposition half, it would be a dangerous game to play going to the back four. So I thought that if we did play the back five today, which we played against Spurs, first thing was to contain them. And obviously they still had possession, but I think there was less room for them to play that penetrating pass or to open us up, even though they had 10 shots to 3 in the first half, something like that. But we still had an opportunity. I think Ronaldo had an opportunity with a great left-footed volley, and we could have scored. Greenwood could have tapped that in, and it would have been 1-1. Undeserved, but it could have been 1-1 in the first half. So I think it was the right thing to do to have that, to contain them, because this is City we're talking about. They're levels above us. The way they play. And I know TalkMU, I'm going to come on to you in a second, but I know that you always complain about, oh, we're playing it too sloppy, we're passing it back, we're passing it sideways. But we witnessed today the masterclass of passing it back and sideways from City. This is how they do. They always play with their back to play the way they're facing, pop, build as a team. Slow. You saw De Bruyne, who's supposed to be a false nine. He was coming deep to get the ball off the centre backs, and then suddenly you can't pick him up. You can't go man mark him there. And then building as a team, and then you can see the way they're playing out of pressure, the way they were sort of pressing as well. They're well oiled and completely good. So I'm really happy to answer your question, Rebel. I'm really happy with the formation that we went with at the beginning. I thought we did contain them. I think they could have been 4 or 5-0 up in the first half based on the chances. You half them charges. They say they had 10 chances. Half that, they could have scored 4 or 5 of them, and we could have been seeing another Liverpool result. But I still think it was more convincing than the Liverpool result because of the way they controlled it. In the second half, they seemed to have gears. They turned up to level maybe 2 in the first half. And then once they were 2-0 up, they managed the game, saw it out, and then strolling around the pitch. So I hope that answers your question. I was still happy with the 5-3-2. I don't know if you want to respond to that, but that's, I still think going forward, until we are established and have some sort of patterns of play, best thing to do is contain teams who are clearly better than us.
Just one quick, small one-liner thought, and then I will let talk come into it. I suppose, though, it was better than Liverpool. But what was Liverpool? It was a low bar. It was a scene of devastation for United fans. Today, given the players that we have, an improvement, but to what level? We're still operating far below the quality of players that we have. And as a team, they cannot be satisfied with saying, okay, it was fighting against Liverpool. We only conceded 2 today, so that's great. That's an improvement. I suppose, even as a United fan, I was angry at the start when we started playing so poorly. I'm kind of numb to it now.
Okay, TalkMU, how are you, man? I want to ask you a question. It's a double question, really. Obviously, I wanted to ask you about the formation, how we set up, playing a 5-3-2. What's the advantage, disadvantage of that against a team like City? And also, I want to ask you as well about lack of, you've got to balance it out. We contain them, but then we didn't really have that many chances. So what are your thoughts on the 5-3-2? Was that the right setup for today?
There's 3 damning things today. One of them, which has just been mentioned, if we are now in a position where we're saying, yeah, we're happy to just contain this City team and just get beat by 2. That's the first one. Second one is that we started with a formation that we don't fully understand, and the players don't fully understand. They just don't understand it properly. They've not had enough time with it, etc., etc. And then the third one is half time. Ollie then flaps and realizes this is never going to work. It was never going to work ever in a million years. You could play from now till the next Pancake Tuesday playing that formation against City, and you'll never beat them. So that's it right there, all on the wall in big bright letters. It's that system. It's just not. We can't go from what we've been doing and just go and revert to this because we're not. You try and play that system against them. This is what I said in the pre-match, the previews and everything. You try and play that system against Manchester City, they'll do exactly what they did, which was get in between the lines. And in fact, the other part of this was, as we know, Manchester City play a 4-3-3. And because of what we were doing, what did they end up playing? It was a 4-1-5 in the end. They were playing 4-1-5 because they knew there was no way we were going to close them down. The time they had on the ball, the space they had, they just took the piss royally. And we looked like an absolute pathetic it was like a training match that for Manchester City. There is nothing out of that game, not one single thing out of that game we can take as a positive. Nothing. And
sorry, can I interrupt you? Sorry, just to add to your point, just want to ask you as well, TalkMU. So you're saying that the formation was incorrect. So what would have happened, do you feel, in hindsight, if we would have gone with a 4-2-3-1 from the start?
If we'd have gone 4-2-3-1, then we would have had, we've got more chance with that formation, in my opinion, because we would have been in better positions and we wouldn't have been sticking to this kind of this mid-block, low block, stand your ground, keep your shape. It would have been more energetic. There'd been more energy from the players. Like you see in the second half, we were trying more. There was a bit more energy, but it was still getting us nowhere. So for me, that's what we should have just stuck to that. We should have, and that's what I said before the game. He needs to go back to that because that's what we had the results against. City. Also, the personnel not starting Rashford. Don't know what the problem was there with Rashford. If there was an injury, because somebody said yesterday he didn't turn up at the hotel and all that kind of talk. So I don't know exactly what happened with Rashford. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's all his last game for United as manager.
Okay. We'll come on to that. Thank you. Sorry, Rebel, do you want to say something?
Yeah, just coming on to a point there that Talk made about the changes of formation. I think at the end, by the time we were finished, we were playing 4-3-3, and that was actually when we looked our most dangerous of the entire game. But there was a very interesting point. I was actually live with Patsy during the game, a Liverpool fan, and a point that came up was
funny nose.
When you look at the zooming of the players that was done during the game, you saw City players drenched in sweat. They were obviously clearly working. They were motivated. They were eager. The United players, it was like they were barely gone for a walk with Cookie.
Cookie's a one-man lover. She would never go for a walk with anyone else. But by the way, it's funny you say that about Man City. I thought they were strolling. I thought it was very easy for them. It was domination, complete control. And in the second half, they were just popping it around, strolling around the pitch, not even have to go on any sprints or anything like that. It's like so when you say about the sweat, yeah, I get that. Maybe it was the rain. We were being deceived. I'm not sure. But for me, they were just having a walk in the park against us. And it wasn't even like next week. Who we got next week?
Armando, the thing as well here is look, you're talking about Manchester United here, right? And we're reverting to this kind of five at the back. Is that, listen, as I say, in a mentality situation, when your agent comes to you as a player and says, "Oh, Manchester United are interested. Do you want to go and join United?" First thing you start thinking is, "Oh yeah, Man United, great history, blah blah blah, great record in the Premier League, exciting football, attacking football." And then you go there, and that's all knocked out of you by a defensive style. You cannot pick yourself up from that when you've got that kind of idea in your head, and that's what you want to play, is that kind of football. Because if we don't snap out of this and snap out of it quickly, how many players are going to come in and try and join a team that is playing a system that they don't even know, a system that doesn't suit us, and a system that, quite frankly, you're not going to win a league. You're not going to win anything.
Okay, can I stop you there? The system we don't even know, that's not going to suit us and not going to win the league. I think this is the issue. Ollie's system, which he's been playing with for 100 games plus now, with the 4-2-3-1, he doesn't even know. Players are not going to get used to, and we're not going to win the league with it. The same with the 4-2-3-1. He's completely lost with that. So reverting to something else, another system, yeah, I agree. It's going to be difficult. If you can't even get the first system right, how are you going to get the second system right? As I pointed out during the midweek at Atalanta, the players were all over the place. Positional play, defense, all over the place. And Bailey was responsible for 2 goals, for example. And today, the same thing again. He's come in and there's been a few errors and mistakes again we've seen, which we're going to go on to. But anyway, let me just, because I want to have a bit more participation with the audience today. And I want to shout out a few people. So obviously, Bath, you're a regular here on the show. You're saying, did you say let's do our best bouncer poses for the intro? I love an intro. We were told, all right, by TalkMU, who's our technical guy. He said, do one of these ones. We turn around and, and look at the camera or do a little pose or something. Yeah. So I want a Rebel, because you're going to be on the intro soon. Just do me a little pose, a bouncer pose, please. Oh yeah, there we go. So you'll be seeing Rebel like that very soon, bath time, if you're interested. Because let's talk about the game. Solo says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm not going to lie, I do feel upset at this at the result. It's something he expected. He's at work at the moment, looking rather sharp. As Talkmu said, he was so sharp. He's getting cut to pieces. Bath time with Vaughan says it was odd to play a diamond with Greenwood on Rodri, but I think it was okay until Bruno broke the block with stupid presses. So he's trying to say in the first half when we had two up front, Greenwood was dropping off trying to pick out Rodri because Rodri's key to their build-up and everything else. So he said it was odd to play a diamond with Greenwood on Rodri, but it was okay until Bruno broke the block with stupid presses. Okay. But I thought Bruno's quite intelligent with his presses usually, but yeah, it's a good observation. I need to go back and check that because I was doing a live watch along. I can't really comment on that. You guys?
Just a quick point on Bantay's comment there, just because it is actually a very interesting point that he made. And it comes back to the point that Talk made about the understanding of the system, the understanding of what we're doing in training. And that pretty much absolutely nailed it. So thanks very much for that, Bantay.
And the Bath time again said he adjusted the back 3, 5, whatever, at the back with having McTominay and Fred sitting much deeper, which didn't make it as dumb as it could have, been. So I agree with that. I think that these two guys, when you are playing the system, do need to sit and stay in position, and sort of that should be their unit there. YouTube stay as a block, not as a block, but just hold your position, don't get out of position. And because these guys have to shuffle over and help out the wing backs and working sort of in unity with the other guys.
The problem, the problem OMONDI with that is that it's all right us doing that, but then we're asking a 36-year-old in really to then be the one to break. In Ronaldo, he ain't got the legs to do that. We were so deep, there was no way we were ever going to get out because City, like I say, with that one, it was never going to happen. And like I say, in the end, City were just like, you know what? No, they ended up in a 4-1-5, and that for me, that's enough said. If a team,
I think I totally agree. I think you have to build as a team. We can't expect, unless you've got Rashford there getting in behind or something, that one ball over the top or that sort of break like that, it's not really going to happen. Maybe with Ronaldo, but we need to build as a team, and we struggled to string 2-3 passes together to get out, as Rebel was saying earlier. OMONDI, we had more shots on target at De Gea than Edison, right? Okay.
Yeah, we had more shots.
Hi, Potsy. How you doing, Potsy? Potsy's a Liverpool fan, well respected, part of the Liverpool channel as well. He says, obviously, he watched it with Rebel. Traitor, excuse me, sore throat. Once, one of the most dominating 2-0s that I've ever seen. I agree with that. First shot on target at Old Trafford with 32% possession. It's not great, guys. Yeah, I agree. Here we have the almighty Blues, and they are almighty at the moment, sitting top of the table. Ankit, how you doing? He's saying sorry for the result, and he means that. He's a nice guy. He actually means that. Barcelona board. For me, the players should take more responsibility than Oli on this one. Absolute shockers. Disappointment there from Bath time. Potsy says, I think the 5-3-2 was just too negative. Oli actually has a good record against Pep, and this would have been the game to stick to what's worked previously rather than be too respectful for City's quality. That's an interesting point there by Potsy. Potsy says, you wanted to be on a live with me for United games. OMONDI. That's not true. You're too smug for me. You're too wise. Bath time says, man judging my shoes from YouTube. Rebel, hi. Oh, Rebel. Rebel? What are you doing here? Rebel, I'll let you read that out.
It was just a statistic I was going to throw in. So as I said, I do a bit of wizardry and see if I can confuse OMONDI with it. But at the 80th minute, a stat came up. United had 3. That's right, 3 touches in City's box the entire of the 80 minutes up to that point, which we had 1 shot on target and we had under 35% possession. That
is bad.
Okay, last comment here from Bath time. He said the real issue that he saw in the game was that Fred are tasked to switch play to wide areas and not progress with dribbles, etc. Sure, Wan-Bissaka will completely pinned down all game. I think you touched on that as well, Rebel. Oh, sorry, one more here. And Jesus, look at the stat. 21% of Man United's home defeats in Premier League have come under Oli. Gunnar Solskjaer. Wow. Okay, there's a lot to sort of talk about there, but I want to start with the first goal. It came after 6 minutes. So obviously we've come out, Talk MU, we've come out, we set up with this formation to try and sort of contain them. And then after 6 minutes, it's like, oh my God, there goes that plan. So the goal, it came down the left-hand side. I thought Foden was really good today. They whipped in a cross. Bailey's gone to ground for some reason. And this is bread and butter for any defender, I feel. And it's obviously come off his foot and it's gone into the goal. Great finish by Bailey. I'm joking, obviously. But what do you think about that, like setting up like that? And then suddenly, after 6 minutes, we conceded a goal to MU.
Well, yeah, it's very poor. I mean, all right, listen, you can't, own goals are own goals. If you're talking inches here or even half an inch, if he'd have got another half inch on his leg, that ball could have gone over. It's very, very fine margin. So I can't really have a go at Bailly for trying, being in the right place. It's just that, unfortunately for him, it's not got the right connection. You can't really, what else can you say about that, really? I mean, he was there. He actually got himself in situ to try and make a difference in that. And unfortunately for him, it's come off the wrong end. And you know what? It's the second goal that's the killer, really.
All right, hold your horses, Rebel, because I've got a lot to say about this as well. Rebel, can you talk to me about the first goal? Like Bailey scored an own goal here after 6 minutes, and how you viewed it.
I got to play a bit of a devil's advocate here because I can actually see two coins to this first goal. There's a lot about the players that I have to say about the second goal, a bit like talk, but this first goal, I think Bailly was on hiding to nothing with that one. If he didn't try to make an attempt to try and steer it away from the path of, I think it was Foden that was waiting for it behind him. Chances are Foden would have knocked it into the back of the net, and we'd be saying, why didn't he make an effort to try and misdirect it away from him, etc., etc. So you can't really fault Eric trying to put a boot on it to try and steer it away from the path of Foden. He was fortunate that it went into the back of the net. Yes, it's a stat against him. Yes, it's going to be counted as an error by him. But at the same time, if he stood there and did nothing, would we have been talking about why he didn't try and put a boot on it? And I think we would have. The more pressing matter in that first goal was, what were we doing closing down Cancelo in the first place? If you're playing with essentially 7 defenders, it should not be that easy to get across him.
Yeah, I agree. So my issue with that, again, if Pep was watching the Atalanta game or watching the Man United agenda, he would have seen that I pointed out that's the area where we were really vulnerable because position-wise, I think between Wan-Bissaka and Bailey, they allowed too much space for the ball to be played in down the middle when they should be sort of tucking in a bit more. And that ball was again played through that gap, gaping holes, like Moses with the staff, and like, here you go, play down here, and we're going to be completely out of position. And then you have to stand up a guy in the box and they get them crossing. And I'm really disappointed. I think as a centre-back myself, you're taught to clear that ball, keep your eye on the ball, and boom, just clear it out. How it can come off his foot and go there. His foot's not like made of a 50p coin. He should be able to just clear it out. I don't understand it. These pitches, like I play on pitches that are bumpy and all this kind of thing. These guys are playing on carpets, So any kind of bump, any kind of thing going on, you just got to clear it. So for me, that's a mistake for the system, for being exploited. I'm thinking, right, surely we've checked the homework and checked to see that we were making mistakes with Atalanta. Both goals came down the same way, down that same side, through the gaps, everything else. And then they get in position in our box. They can cross balls across the corridor of uncertainty. And it's hard for defenders, I'll give you that. But you've got to clear that, in my opinion. That was really disappointing. And Rich Sports, how you doing? He says, very poor as well. Just here saying, so this is Bath time saying there was more to that goal than just Bailey. Bruno broke the block and they switched it twice before the cross came in, with the midfield all over and centre backs out of shape. Agreed. There's a big difference to the goal, and says Keane against Real. It was classic Bailey not being in control of his limbs. Yeah, totally. And finally, Saragon, how you doing, Saragon? Everyone say hi to Saragon. Says, will all of the gay haters sit down? The match would have been a thrashing in goals. Also, can't blame Pogba no more. I don't even blame Fred Ollie and the coaches waved the white flag by starting the back five. 25 minutes in, we're still talking about the formation and the back five. And I think it's 2-1, aren't we saying here that it was bad to start with that? You two are saying it was wrong decision. I'm saying it's the right decision. So it's 2-1, and maybe I'm outnumbered with the comments as well. A lot of people are disappointed. Can we just say that.
On a back five, there's different ways you can set up a back five. The way you set up your two midfielders makes that formation go from ultra defensive, basically setting up for a siege, on having a go at the game. If you see the way that Chelsea play their back five, you're seeing their two wing backs are absolutely bombing. They're switched on. You look at the movement of their midfield, it is a different structure. Even though it's the same formation, it is a completely different game plan. And what we're looking at was a very rudimentary, very basic, very, we need to do something reactionary back five.
Okay. Talk MU. So obviously we go 1-0 down. Can we just quickly talk about, because in the 25th minute, we started to play a little bit in their half, had a little spell where we stringed some passes together, and we had a really good opportunity where Luke Shaw whipped it in, and Ronaldo, what a beautiful volley on his left foot, wickedly saved by the keeper, and Greenwood, oh man, be on your toes. It came off Greenwood and went off for a corner. Does you guys want to quickly run through that and just say what you think about that? It could have gone with 1-1 all.
It was a good bit of play. There's no two ways about it. But you got to look at the numbers involved in it, and the danger in actually in us doing that in that system. It was very dangerous. Yeah, we had the opportunity, and it was unfortunate we didn't. Ronaldo's shot didn't go in, but in order for us to sustain anything like that, then we have to play that really high line. But then you look what City did. City then just had two players, right on our back line. Danger. And we have to consider that at all times. And then, it was...
What do you think about the technique of the shot, the volley, though, by Ronaldo? I thought that was really good.
Hey, listen, we can't... All the superlatives have been used for Ronaldo and his techniques. It was absolute sensational, but it didn't go in. So...
What about Greenwood, though, your foster son? If anyone doesn't know, Talkemu loves Greenwood so much, he wants to adopt him. And he's already put the paperwork in. Listen, so what do you think about Greenwood? Do you think he should have been more aware, being on his toes to put that away as a so-called best finisher, striker?
Not necessarily, because not only was he in the right place, but he also had a really switched-on City defender who was there right with him, right alongside him. So it was always going to be, because they seen the shot go in and the defender was there right alongside Greenwood, and it comes flying right back at him. And it's all he can do is just, there's not really much else he could do, to be fair. So I think it was a bit difficult for Mason to try and do anything with that, if I'm honest with you. But
okay, sorry, go on. Do you want to finish up?
I just think it was, like I said, we can talk about all the ifs and the buts and the maybes, but when you jump off a bench with a rope around your neck, what do you expect? You're not going to survive. And that's what we did.
Rebel, what do you think about that chance? Because that's probably the best chance we had in the game. I know we had a header, Maguire from a set piece early on as well, which he sort of took his eye off the ball. I think if he would have really focused, he could have got that on target. But what do you think about a great chance that Greenwood had?
I'm going to agree with the way that Talk said that the City defender was switched on. But that's where our similarities are going to, I suppose, deviate. If you think about the best poachers, the best reactionary strikers that have been in the game, they would have already been thinking of the possibility of a ball coming back out, and they would have been looking to make sure that they were making the road or the angle that best suited their best chance of getting that shot towards target. And I think it was more of a case of Greenwood was reacting to the fact that, oh crap, the ball is coming towards me, and try to get something on it rather than a pre-planned, maybe it might come back to me. Like if I think of Ruben Nistelrooy, I think that was in the back of the net. If it was the other way around, that Greenwood volleyed it and Ronaldo was where Greenwood was, that was in the back of the net. But that is one small, I suppose, incident in what was a poor game overall for United.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on. There's a few more comments here. We're just going to move on now. We'll talk about the second half, because in the second half, I think the game was over by the first half. I think we could all unanimously agree on that. And City just managed the game out and just played. If you pressed them too much, they would eat you up. So we had to be cautious. We obviously changed the system. Greenwood came on at Sancho came on at half time. I thought he played well. Let's just speed it up a little bit now. I thought he played pretty well, decent. And we went back to like a 4-2-3-1, which was more familiar with us. And maybe we had a bit more to play. But I do think, to balance that, I do think Man City were just took their foot off the gas as well. So that maybe they allowed us to have a bit more possession. But let's talk about the second goal, because I'm sorry we talk about so many errors lately, but we are conceding goals. This second goal, it was basically a 1-2. Silva had it on the right-hand side of the pitch. He played it across the penalty area, just outside the box, just outside the area. It went to Cancelo. Cancelo had his time to lift his head up, and he saw Silva pointing for the back post, played a nice looping ball, sort of like Barcelona used to do, to the back post. Maguire, I felt, could have cleared it. Shaw's kind of let it go. There's no communication there. De Gea mute again, and Silva's come in, back post. Didn't really get a real good foot on it or connection, but it fumbled in De Gea's hand and it went in the goal. I actually thought at the time it went wide, but it was in the goal. What do you guys think? I'm going to start with you, Talk MU. Talk to me about that goal very briefly, because we've got to wind it up soon. Talk to me about that goal, please.
I'm just going to come in there for Talk because he's actually stepped out for a second.
Okay, sorry. Do you want to take that then?
Yeah, essentially, I'm looking at that from two perspectives. First of all, you mentioned De Gea not shouting enough. When I think back of De Gea's career, even when United were playing well when he was with us, he was never the loud-mouthed keeper. He was never the guy. He was never the Peter Schmeichel. He was never the Edward Van der Sar. That was just not his role. When I look at that,
hold on. Sorry, so I don't want to break you up there, but even if that's not, some people say, "Well, that's not." I don't do that, but you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to.
Sorry,
as a goalkeeper, everything.
His style more than his role. He's more, I suppose, the kind of guy that does his job rather than directs traffic. But when I look at that passage of play, there's obviously the end product was he palmed it into the goal, which was unfortunate for him, and it's going to be talked about. And when I look at Shaw, at least he tried to intervene. He tried to get in the way. But there was one, and I'm going to use the word Wally here, and that was our captain, Harry Maguire. He was stood in the middle of an island, didn't seem to know what he wanted to do, was not backing any instructions. He's the captain of our team. He should have been either making a move, he should have been driving Shaw towards a correct position. He should have been trying to read what was going on. But he was like a rabbit stuck in the headlights. And I think when you look at that goal, that second goal, as much as De Gea could have done better with palming it away, you're going to have to put a lot of the blame on Harry Maguire there, because he was a free man that could see the play unfolding, and he did not act like the vocal captain that you would expect and direct traffic for his players. So a lot of that goal is at his door.
I'll just respond before I go on to talking to you. I think De Gea needs to take responsibility. You're giving a get out of jail card by saying that's not his style, that's not what he does. But I think if he doesn't do it, he needs to learn to do it. For example, my brother, I play with him as centre back. He said to me one time, I used to say to him, bruv, you need to dominate the back line. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. You dominate. When you're in the back, you dominate everything. You should hear me. When I'm out there and I've got a back four, I tell them, I'm in the ear constantly until they hate me. I don't care if they hate me, but I'm talking, because I can see the whole pitch and I'm organising everything. And that way we can stroll through games, make the whole life easier. Tell them to tuck in, do whatever. I organise them. My brother said to me once, that's not my style. I don't do that. I said, what do you mean it's not your style? You're supposed to do it. That's what you're supposed to do. And I think De Gea, maybe he's a bit mute, maybe he doesn't do that, but he's supposed to do it. And I think in situations like that, he should be talking to the guys saying, Harry, or drop off 5, or don't give it up, Luke, or something like that, to say something, because he can see everything. But I don't, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not at the stadium, maybe he's doing that, but I do think De Gea needs to take far more responsibility and be more vocal, and because he's able to see everything. But that's just my opinion. We can talk about that another time. Talk MU, the second goal that we conceded. We just, I hope you're back with us, Talk. Just give me a yes or yeah, you're back. Just give me a quick summary, because we're going to wrap up the show soon, about the second goal, mistakes, because Rebel just discussed it. He made a really good points. but he's saying it should be Harry Maguire's responsibility. He's got like rabbit in the headlights kind of thing. How do you view the second goal?
Well, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from with the Maguire thing, but listen, this is down to Luke Shaw not being aware at all of what's around him. Ball watching. He had no idea Bernardo Silva was right behind him. And he's just gone like put his arms out as if to say, oh, it's fine. You can get that De Gea. And again, yeah, maybe David De Gea should be saying something, but you would expect as a goalkeeper for your defenders to be aware of what's the danger that is around them. You know, and right. Luke Shaw should have been aware of what, you know, who was behind him. So the blame split between, I'll give it 50-50 more in terms of De Gea and Shaw. Yeah, De Gea should have shouted maybe at Shaw, you know, man on. That meant then Shaw could have just stuck his leg out and hoofed it and put it back into the sky, you know, give people a chance. And also Luke Shaw, just, you know, have a look who's around you, where are you at when the ball is, you know, at other players' feet when you're not anywhere near it. You've got to be aware of who's around you. Don't be just gazing at the ball. That's one of the things you learn early on in football. Don't ball watch. Don't ball watch, because that's like for the opposition. That's the best. That's what they want you to do. You're one. You just keep your eye on the ball. That's it. See the ball. It's going over there. It's going over there, and then bang, it's switched. And because you've been watching the ball, you've no idea that there's two players shooting in behind you, and then exactly what happened. So Luke Shaw needs to be far more aware of who was around him in that situation.
Can I put this to you, so talk then? If that's the case, that Shaw needs to do better, given Maguire's proximity and the fact that he wasn't taking up a marking role on anyone, he wasn't making a movement towards cutting off any passing options. What was Maguire's function in that particular passage of play, given that he was pretty much looking at what was unfolding in front of him? He didn't give Shaw a shout to say, listen, man coming on behind. What was Maguire doing? He can't.
Harry Maguire can't take responsibility for everybody. You know, individual players need to, and I'm sure he will be saying that to Luke Shaw. You know, what you got to be aware. You got to look who's around you. Make sure you know who's around you. The worst thing you can do as a defender is have a player the wrong side of you, and that's exactly what happened. You know.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to have to sort of wind it down now. I just want to make a quick point. We're going to go now because we've had a lot of poor performances and the team's not performing well. It's clear on stats, everything. I'm seeing stats here about Norwich, comparing us to Norwich. And I think, oh my God, this is really disgraceful. But I just want to remind you of a game early in the season. Big clash, heavyweight clash between Chelsea and Liverpool. And we've seen they're both top teams, yeah? So Chelsea go down to 10 men. And in the second half, they had to absorb the Liverpool wave of attack with 10 men. And it ended up 0-0. Was it 0-0 game? That a 0-0 game where they didn't concede and they organised their team well enough to sort of hold off Liverpool and like really sort of prevent them from scoring. Obviously, it was difficult. Not I'm saying it was easy, but their manager got them the result, which is a point at the end of the day. So when I look at things like that, I think, wow, that was a great performance. We've seen what Liverpool can do. We all know, as Man United fans, we've seen what Liverpool can do, and they've been unbeaten for so long. So I look at that and then I assess our performances this season. I'm looking at everything. If you have an assessment, like a review meeting, like your probation meeting, and we're going to have that meeting now. We're going to set it up. It's the board meeting now. We've reached a climax now. We're at the international break, 2 weeks off, and we're having a review meeting. So I'm going to say to you guys, board members, are we Talk and Rebel? It's international break now. We can reassess everything. We just lost 5-0, lost at home to Villa. We've doing all right now in the Champions League, but it's been life and death. We've just lost again today to our rivals. To each one. Are we? And we can see what a good manager does at Chelsea with 10 men against the Liverpool side. So I'm saying to you two board members, do we continue with this going forward with Ollie and this setup? Are you encouraged by what we see? And what do you think we should start making key decisions about going forward about to save our season in a way? Or do you think we can turn it around? Board member, TalkMU board member, do you want to answer that, please?
Listen, all we got to do is look at Spurs. Are you telling me that Spurs are a more ambitious club than Man United? No, they're not. And what do? They see it's not working with Nuno. they take the big plunge and go, right, it's not working. We've got more ambition than that. Bang, wallop, Conte in at whatever cost they've done it. So for me, you know what, we've got to go. Listen, I've never been an Ollie outer, but over the last sort of month or so, I've been every time we play, I'm more and more convinced it's just got the better of him. The job's got the better of him. He doesn't know what to do. Just doesn't, and that's evident in the fact that he sets up in a system that was never going to work against the best passing team in the world, in Manchester City. Then reverts to half time and changes it, knowing that, oh crap, it's not working. That you know what I mean? It's like, well, wait a minute, Ollie. You know what I mean? You can try that at a League One club, you know, where you're not really expected to do anything apart from just maybe stay out of the relegation zone. But you're not at the biggest club in the world, Manchester United, telling me that you can sustain these kind of ideas. It's crazy, mate. It's absolutely crazy. And for me, the time has come now where it's got to end. It has got to end. He either walks or they come to a mutual agreement. Do it respectfully, like I said 2 weeks ago. Do it respectfully, and say, look, we've come to the mutual agreement. He's done all he can for the club, and it's now time for him to move on. And we go out and get, I don't know, it can possibly, if Zidane does not make it clear that he wants the job and he's keen and hungry for the job, I don't want him. If he's just saying, oh, well, the French job ain't available, so I'll go to Man United for a bit, fuck off, not interested. You either want the biggest job in the fucking world or you don't. End of story. If you don't...
Quickly, Chalk, is that justified what you're saying? So you're basing it on performance and you're not seeing any improvement. That's your decision, yeah?
Let me tell you this. I'll ask you
in a word.
Let me just ask you a question. Yeah. But let me just ask you a question. What are the two best teams in the league playing at the moment? What formations do they play?
4-3-3, maybe with City and Liverpool.
There you go. So there it is. And I said it 2 years ago. Not 2 years. Yeah, coming up for like 18 months ago. You're never going to win a league, especially now with these managers that are in there now playing a 4-2-3-1 or anything other than a 4-3-3 or a kind of augmentation of a 4-3-3 in an attacking sense. It's just not going to happen. And it's quite clear now that that's the case because look at Chelsea, look at Manchester City, look at Liverpool. I mean, Chelsea, for me, though, they are gonna drop off at some point, and it's Manchester City's title, in my opinion, because they've got far too much experience, far too much knowledge.
Okay, it's a board meeting. I'm not here to talk about other clubs. You're saying, based on performance, we have an assessment meeting here, maybe a dismissal meeting, as one of the Saragon said. I want decisions. We're here to make decisions. We are the big board here, round the table. I want decisions to be made. We've given it time. You've definitely given him a lot of time. Rebel talk. So you're saying we need to start looking at another manager now. Yep.
All day long.
Okay, Rebel. You've listened to what Talk had to say. What's your assessment so far up until this second international break? We've got 2 weeks now. We have been sort of umming and ahhing about new management and everything else. What should we do? We're making big decisions here. What decisions do you have to make? Be decisive, please.
First of all, if you're new to watching the channel, make sure you smash the subscribe button. The channel is giving away a signed Bruno Fernandes jersey at 1,000 subs, so make sure you keep it here for all your Manchester United news. But in regards to the situation at Old Trafford, it's a report card, and I'm looking at our grade, and our grade is a D. And the only reason it's a D and not an F is because by some miracle we're still hanging about in that Champions League group. But looking at it holistically, we've been looking at botch job after botch job in terms of performance all season. We've managed to come out of the right side of it a few times and picked up points that we possibly didn't deserve. But looking at what we need to do next season, it is absolutely critical. It is actually essential that we are in Champions League football. And in the current structure, unfortunately for us, it is time to part ways with Ollie as the captain of our ship and his coaching staff. There are a number of players that will have case to answer, but that is another day's work. But in terms of the results that he's delivered, his report card, given what he's got at his disposal, is underwhelming and is not reaching its potential. So it is time for change.
Okay. you know what I like? We have to be decisive, and I think we've been more than fair with the performances. We've been really disappointed with the performances. There's a lot of unrest. We saw what happened late last season when the fans were protesting, and we've given them what they want. We've given them is spent a lot of money this season. We brought in Ronaldo and everything else, but it hasn't sorted. There's still unrest with the fans with the performance now. So we as the board, we've invested, we've done our bit. But now we need the manager to do their bit because they've got the players to work with. Someone said earlier, we've got a good enough side now we should be performing a lot better. So I'm with you guys. If I'm part of this board and we're having a board meeting right now and a report card, as you say, Rebel, I do agree that the managers is seriously under pressure. And after today, with more tough games to come after the international break, I think that we really seriously need to start looking at bringing someone else in, scouting someone else, and getting them on board. But we need quickly, guys. Do we need someone who's down with Man United, or do we need just someone for a quick fix? Or do you understand what I'm saying? Like Conte, for example, might not have the right sort of system because he's used to playing a 5-3-2, for example. Or do we need to sort of really be patient and wait for the right person to come along, whoever that may be? I've got no idea.
Ten Hag.
Okay, I agree. I think he's looking good. Great performances by him this year.
Yeah, the type of football he plays is exactly what the United players want. That's what we want.
Okay, Rebel, quickly.
I would agree 100% with Ten Hag. But I think the one thing with Ten Hag is he's more likely someone that won't come available till probably next summer, given the way that he did reject a job midstream last year. So what you're going to realistically be looking at is someone that is capable of identifying the talents that we have available in our squad and utilizing them properly until the summer. And it could be a case that we might have to compromise, or if it is a case that Ten Hag becomes available, I'd imagine we'll have to pay for him.
Okay.
But listen, I'm telling you now, if we go, sorry, 1 second, if we go to Ten Hag with the right package, he's going to come to United. No two ways about it. This is again down to ambition of the club, down to ambition of Ed Woodward while he's still in this role. He has to advise the Glazers. Like I said last week, he's the one who has to advise the Glazers now about the remainder of the season, where it's going, where it could end up, and the investment needs to be made in securing a manager that is going to propel us up the table to the Champions League spots, because you'll get what you pay out back. If we don't get top four, we're in trouble.
On the Man United board, the Man United agenda board here, we've got a lot of shareholders and they've got a voice as well. And I just want to say here, like Bath Time saying recruitment's been so bad, we need to make a proper search for a new manager. So just be patient maybe and get the right person in rather than just anybody. Red Devil Studio, I've obviously there's previous comments here that I'm not be able to read everyone's out, but I've put them up on the screen and I've nodded. We've all seen them. And a lot of them I agree with, guys. We seem to be all on the same page. He's gone. Ten Hag will not be leaving mid-season, and with Ajax being successful, Ten Hag is incredibly open, lads. If we can change, let's just get out kidnapping. Yeah, let's sit down and have a meeting about that. Laurent Blanc, 6 months, then Ten Hag, maybe. Ten Hag, Zidane till end of season, big on big money. Hello, panel, Devils United. Hello, Maisie. How you doing, girl? You done a great watch along earlier with Talkmu. Go check that out. I think Blanc's a good shout as well. Said Bath Time in Vaughan until we can get what's his name? Ten Hag. Or whatever thing.
Ten Hag.
Dan doesn't want to come. Just quickly, I'm going to close up the show because we're reaching like 50 minutes and it's been a fantastic discussion. Thanks to all the shareholders in the Man United agenda. You're investing in us. We talk frankly on this show about what we really need. And I think it's been a productive meeting today. Really good insight from you two guys on the panel as well. And from like all the guys here chipping in with their great info and great tactical analysis, great football knowledge. I mean, look, it makes you wonder sometimes, doesn't it? Like we guys, we're not even involved in football in the game deeply, but we seem to know how it operates. We seem to know what the best decisions are, for the tactics, for the players, everything else. It's crazy, isn't it? And these guys are paid a lot of money. Maybe they actually tune in and watch us and get tips from us. Or maybe people like Rebel has got like a hotline and Talkmu's got a hotline giving out tips and speculation, to think. I don't know, but it's quite a simple game. As we saw with Man City today, very simple game they play. Really simple, pop, percentage passing, play all in tune. And it works very well. When it works, when a football team works really well, it's a beautiful thing to watch. When you see 11 players on the same page working on a system, it's lovely to see. But when it doesn't work, as we're witnessing here at this era, at this time, it's very ugly, it's disappointing. And no matter how many great players you might have in a squad, in a team or squad, it just doesn't work out, does it? So,
can I say one thing, Amanda? Can I say one thing?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Let me just say this: if we don't see any movement in our managerial position over the next coming, it's got to be within the next week to give ourselves a good week at getting. Look how quick they got Conte at Tottenham. We've got to see him move. If we don't, I think it's then the moment for the fans to rise up. We have to rise up as fans and let this club and board and owners know enough is enough. No, we don't want any more of this. You've got to make the change because, as I said, Spurs are now becoming a more ambitious club than Man United. That is in itself a damning thing to say.
Final words, Rebel?
Yeah, I think, like you, something is going to have to happen quickly. And if it is going to happen, I reckon we're looking at 24 to 48 hours will be when you'll see Ole removed, if it happens. So by the end of Monday, if it's going to happen, I think there will be severe indications by then. But it is going to be necessary. And I just want to say one thing. Maisie will be back with our player rating show on Monday, and we'll be looking at the performances of all our players. So make sure that you do tune into Maisie on Monday. And then, of course, there's our award-winning Studs Up, where on Monday we'll be coming back grovelling to Kevin, to Rebel, for his analysis of the three-at-the-back system. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm not going to argue with Rebel because you've had me on my knees with your fantastic videos and everything else you produced this week. It's been really funny, really funny. So I love you guys. I love all you guys in the comments. I'm going to, you know who you are, everyone who's contributed today. Thank you so much. We're united in one thing right now, which is about maybe a change. It's time for a change. And as Sam Cooke would say, a change is going to come. Bring it on with the international break. As for me, I'm signing out. So Mondi Juma, big up to Rise Talk MU, big up to my man Rebel, big up to everyone in the comments. And we're out. It's been disappointing, but as someone said in the comments earlier, we move on. We keep being positive. We move on and just keep walking, you know? Anyway, we're out. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. God bless.